You know that sinking feeling when your perfect escape turns into a nightmare? That's exactly what hit me like a ton of bricks one crisp autumn morning back in 2018. I just cashed out from my software company after years of grinding in Silicon Valley, dreaming of a quiet life by the river. So I bought this cozy cabin in Willow Bend Meadows, a small gated community nestled along the winding Willow River in upstate New York. The selling point? My own private path straight to the water, a rugged trail of packed earth and stones leading to a weathered pier where I could fish in solitude. It was supposed to be my sanctuary, far from boardrooms and deadlines. But that day, as I sipped my black coffee and gazed out the kitchen window, my heart dropped. There they were, glaring yellow barriers, lined up like sentinels across my trail. Not a couple, but a whole battalion, spaced with military precision, their reflective bands glinting mockingly in the dawn light. A crudely scrawled sign jabbed into the dirt declared, "Restricted Zone, Association Common Ground." I froze, mug halfway to my lips. This couldn't be real. I double-checked the deed. That trail was mine. Fuming, I stormed out in my slippers, the dew soaking my feet. As I approached, my toe caught on one of those damned barriers, sending me sprawling. Gravel bit into my knee, drawing blood, and I cursed loud enough to wake the neighbors. That's when I heard her voice sharp, unyielding. I'd advise caution on association property. Turning, I faced Eleanor Hawthorne, the Homeowners Association president. She was in her late 50s, with steel gray hair pinned in a severe knot, arms folded like a fortress. No sympathy for my scraped knee, just a smug glare. "This is my trail," I shot back, wincing as I stood. "I bought this place for river access." Eleanor didn't flinch. She launched into a lecture about communal rules and boundaries, gesturing at the barriers as if they were sacred. What chilled me was her mention of the prior owners. They thought they could flout the guidelines too. Curious where they vanished to, isn't it? Her smile was pure venom, implying dire consequences. My phone's GPS confirmed the trail was private, but her sign said otherwise. Something stank. Glancing toward the association Hallis squat brick building about 150 yards away, I wondered about the lines dividing this place. Eleanor's whisper cut through. "Those barriers stay until you respect authority. Some stones are best left unturned." She strode off, leaving me seething, blood trickling down my leg. Little did I know, those yellow barriers were concealing a bombshell that could shatter the whole community. The next week was torture. Eleanor escalated, adding more barriers until there were 10, a fortress blocking my view. Neighbors gawked as they passed, whispering. I buried myself in association charters, spotting sloppy alterations, whiteout smears, and mismatched fonts on sections about river rights and shared land. It screamed foul play. I fired off a polite email to the board, attaching my survey maps and photos of the barriers, hoping for reason. Instead, a cryptic text buzzed in from an unknown number. "Watch your back with Eleanor." I challenged her once on fence rules. Now I'm fined weekly for uneven lawn edges. She's crushed dissenters before. Those barriers? Her signature move. Signed, Worried Resident. Chills ran down my spine. This was a pattern of bullying. Eleanor's reply was a slap, a frosty denial, upholding the barriers and slapping me with a $150 penalty for unauthorized path grooming. She droned on about established river protocols and hinted I'd end up like the last folks if I didn't comply. My blood boiled. This woman was hijacking my dream, using those barriers as psychological warfare. Stubbornness kicked in. I wouldn't fold. Walking into the association meeting felt like entering a viper pit. The hall buzzed with tension, chairs facing a dais where Eleanor presided. One of those yellow barriers perched center stage like a trophy. I'd armed myself with a 1950s plat map proving my trail private. As I spoke, unfolding the document, a faded line caught my eye, snaked right under the hall itself, tying to my lot. My pulse raced. But Eleanor pounced, branding the map obsolete forgery. She painted me as a disruptive newcomer, proposing to turn my trail into a shared meditation garden with permanent fences. When Sarah, a young mom in the crowd, rose to defend me, Eleanor's icy stare silenced her. The room turned. I left humiliated, but that line haunted me. Those barriers glowed ominously under the moon as I trudged home. This wasn't over. 3 days later, defeat nearly won. I drafted an email to my realtor. Sell it, Alcant, fight this madness. But pride halted me. I'd escaped corporate sharks. No way a petty tyrant would win. Then Harold knocked me, elderly neighbor, thermos in hand. Over coffee, staring at the barriers, he spilled. Fines for improper bird feeder height. Others driven out by Eleanor's whims. He tipped me to Margaret, a grizzled county archivist. We drove to the records office next day. Margaret's eyes widened at our query. Willow Bend. Been waiting for this. Dusting off files, she revealed. The hall sat on land never deeded to the association. It belonged to Lot 12. Mine. I'd paid taxes on it unknowingly for months. The irony hit like lightning. Eleanor ruled from my soil while barricading my river. Empowered, I set up a neighborhood info booth by the barriers table, lemonade, flyers questioning association legitimacy without spilling the secret. Neighbors trickled in, murmuring about overreach. Eleanor retaliated with ludicrous citations, illicit refreshment vending, harmony disruption. Barriers multiplied to 14. But it backfired. Doubt spread. Harold rallied. Sarah vented about petty tickets. Eleanor called an outdoor emergency huddle, afraid of hall questions. Chaos ensued. Residents grilled her on finances, barriers excess. Stories poured out. Mrs. Patel fined for wrong hue curtains, Mike for loud garage doors. Eleanor's facade cracked under the scrutiny. I sued, demanding barrier removal and hall land recognition. Service day exploded. She held a frantic lawn meeting, barriers mocking in the background. Panic set in, residents revolted, sharing tales of abuse. Sarah declared support. Harold thundered against vendettas. Eleanor's defenses crumbled as legitimacy evaporated. Court was electric. My attorney demolished theirs with ironclad proofs, surveys, taxes, Margaret's affidavit. Judge Thompson ruled swiftly. Barriers gone, damages paid, hall landmine. Gasps echoed. Eleanor's empire shattered. Outside, they begged mercy. I could have raised it all, demolished the hall, back rent demands. Instead, as crews hauled away the last barrier, I announced at the next gathering. Lease the land for $1 a year, but I veto major calls. No more barriers on private paths. Relief swept through. They ousted Eleanor in a rout, installing a fair board. Months on, fishing with Harold on my clear trail, peace reigned. I'd turned tyranny to harmony. But here's the controversy. Was my mercy weakness, letting bullies off easy? Or does real power mean restraint? Should I have crushed Eleanor utterly for justice? What would you do with absolute control? Forgive or destroy? Drop your hot takes below. Smash like if mercy wins. Subscribe for more real-life twists. What's your verdict?